Travis Hunter leaps above 3 defenders, somehow coming down with the ball in the end zone. Then, in the same game, he's breaking on a pass, intercepting it in stride. Some scouts believe he should play DB full-time, with occasional packages at wide receiver. Others insist he's a better wide receiver than cornerback. Coaches see him as a lockdown NFL corner who could gradually work his way into offensive plays. General managers debate drafting him primarily as a receiver. Meanwhile, Deion Sanders simply says, "We've never seen anything like this before." Travis Hunter went from a top high school recruit to flipping his commitment from an ACC school to an HBCU, following Sanders and ultimately winning college football's most coveted prize. When asked about his unique status, Hunter just shrugs it off. "I'm just different, like that, bro." Stop putting unicorn, bro. No, unicorns have different breeds. You think you've seen every kind of football player. The freaks, the speedsters, the lockdown corners, the route technicians, the game breakers. You haven't seen this. Travis Hunter is not just another highly touted prospect in the 2025 NFL draft. He is something entirely different. A player who defies convention and forces NFL teams to rethink how they evaluate talent. A former #1 overall recruit, a Heisman Trophy winner, the only player in college football history to win both the Chuck Bednarik Award as the nation's top defensive player and the Fred Biletnikoff Award as the nation's top receiver. Hunter has made history at every level of football he has played, and now the NFL has to decide exactly what to do with him. Usually when we're talking about a player playing 2 positions, it's due to a projected transition to the NFL game, and it's never really a good thing. Typically, it's like, if we move this guy from tackle to guard, he could be a good NFL player. Or, this guy doesn't have the speed to play corner, but maybe he could work as a safety. It's usually a deficiency. Travis Hunter being able to enter the NFL as a corner or a receiver, or both, is absolutely insane. It's an incredible athletic accomplishment. A wide receiver or cornerback? The answer is yes. What do you do with a player who won the Biletnikoff Award for the nation's top receiver and the Chuck Bednarik Award for the best defensive player? In the same year, what do you do with someone who, after catching 92 passes for 1,152 yards and 14 touchdowns, still had the legs to pick off 4 passes, break up 10 more, and get named a unanimous All-American on defense? You pause, you hesitate, because no one, not coaches, not scouts, not even Travis himself, knows exactly what he is. Before Travis Hunter was the most debated name in football, he was just a skinny kid from Suwanee, Georgia, tearing up high school fields with a calm face and absurd numbers. Born in 2003 in West Palm Beach, Florida, his football legacy was built in Georgia, where he became one of the most dominant high school players the state had ever seen. Playing for Collins Hill High School, he wasn't just good, he was inevitable. His high school coach would later recall how Hunter could tell you every single route based on alignment because of the type of film that he was watching. Those small details that coaches talk about Monday through Thursday, he was calling out on Friday nights. The team knew exactly what play was coming because of Hunter's preparation. By his junior year, Hunter had already broken records that had stood for decades in Georgia. The numbers were staggering: 137 receptions, 1,746 yards, and 24 touchdowns in a single season. And if that sounds like a future wide receiver, just flip the field. On defense, he recorded 8 interceptions and 51 tackles, completely wrecking opponents on both sides of the ball. He wasn't a two-way player. In theory, he was the best player on both sides, period. It was no surprise when Hunter became the #1 overall recruit in the 2022 class. Initially, he committed to Florida State, a nearby ACC school with a storied history. Everything was following the script. Local kid, Southern football powerhouse, blue blood trajectory, until it wasn't. In one of the most shocking decisions in recruiting history, Travis Hunter flipped his commitment to Jackson State, an HBCU led by Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. college football analysts called it one of the most significant moments in college football history, saying it changed the game completely. No five-star recruit had ever chosen an HBCU over a traditional football powerhouse. Hunter's decision sent shockwaves through the college football world. He was following Deion Sanders, a man who, like him, played both ways in the NFL and redefined position boundaries. If anyone understood what Travis Hunter was trying to do, it was prime. Hunter didn't care what anybody didn't like. He believed his decision allowed guys to say, you know what, if I'm good enough, I can go play anywhere because they'll find me. Hunter's time at Jackson State was brief but impactful. He flashed his potential as a two-way player, but battled injuries during his freshman season. Even in limited action, he managed to record 2 interceptions and 4 receiving touchdowns. But after just 1 season, he would make another move that surprised the college football world. When Deion Sanders left Jackson State to become the head coach at Colorado, Hunter followed, entering the transfer portal and heading to Boulder to test himself at the FBS level. Critics said he wouldn't survive the jump to Power 5 football, that the Big 12 would chew him up, that playing both ways full-time against elite athletes was a fantasy that he needed to choose. They were about to be proven very, very wrong. When Travis Hunter arrived in Boulder, expectations were already unreasonable. Colorado was 111 the year before. Suddenly, they were national news. Deion Sanders was bringing the circus with him. Cameras, headlines, haters. But while the world focused on Coach Prime, football people were watching Hunter. And in his Colorado debut, what they saw didn't make sense. Commentators couldn't believe it. Hunter was still on the field, playing nearly every snap on both sides of the ball. In that first game against TCU, Hunter played 147 snaps, offense, defense, and special teams combined. For context, the average NFL starter plays around 63 to 70 snaps in a full game. Hunter more than doubled that. In his first Power 5 game, he racked up 119 receiving yards, an interception, a pass breakup, and nearly scored a touchdown against a team that had just played in the national championship. On national TV, in his first Big 12 game, Sanders joked afterward that he didn't know how many snaps Hunter played, but they were going to put a hot tub on the plane for him to make sure he was straight. When asked if he ever thought he was playing too much, Hunter's response was simple. He loves to be on the field, loves playing football. That's just all he knows is to go out there and work. It doesn't faze him. The numbers don't faze him. He doesn't even know the number until the end of the game, until somebody brings it up to him, because all he knows is he's just playing football and having fun with the guys. His first season with the Buffs, Hunter continued to put up ridiculous numbers despite playing an unprecedented number of snaps. He finished the year with 57 receptions for 721 yards and 5 touchdowns on offense, while also recording 3 interceptions and 30 tackles on defense. But there was a setback. In the Rocky Mountain Showdown against Colorado State, Hunter took a brutal hit that sent him to the hospital. He would miss 3 games, raising questions about the sustainability of his two-way role. Yet, when he returned, he picked up right where he left off. By the end of the 2023 season, he had played 1,063 total snaps, nearly 100 per game, and more than any other player in college football. His performance earned him a consensus All-American selection and the Paul Hornung Award, given to the most versatile player in all of college football. If his 2023 season was impressive, his 2024 season was legendary. Playing nearly 1,400 snaps, Hunter dominated in every way imaginable. As a wide receiver, he caught 92 passes for 1,152 yards and 14 touchdowns, proving he could be a legitimate number 1 option at the next level. As a cornerback, he picked off 4 passes, broke up 10 more, and made life miserable for opposing quarterbacks. He was an Iron Man, playing more snaps than any player in the country. And somehow, he never seemed to slow down. According to tracking data, Hunter averaged 12.2 miles per hour per game and covered over 5.2 miles every Saturday. He played 84% of Colorado's total snaps, not just offensive or defensive snaps, but 84% of the entire team's total snaps. He played 400 more snaps than the second most used player in college football. Across 343 coverage snaps, he was targeted just 34 times, less than 10% of the time, making him one of only 2 FBS players with such a low target rate. In addition, Hunter surrendered the fewest first downs of any cornerback nationally, with just 6. He allowed only 1 touchdown in coverage all season. His tackling efficiency was equally remarkable, as he stopped the receiver on 19 of 20 catches that he allowed. His performance was so unprecedented that he won the Heisman Trophy, becoming only the second primarily defensive player to ever win the award, joining Charles Woodson from 1997. In addition to the Heisman, he took home the Walter Camp Award, the AP College Football Player of the Year, the Biletnikoff Award for the nation's top receiver, and the Chuck Bednarik Award for the best defensive player. No player had ever done what Hunter did in 2024. Not in college football history, not in the NFL, not anywhere. As the 2025 NFL Draft approaches, teams have to figure out exactly how to use Travis Hunter at the next level. That begins with understanding what makes him special on both sides of the ball. And if you took Hunter's cornerback tape and removed the context, he's a top 3 defensive player in the draft. Then, if you look at his receiver film separately, that's another first-round resume. Stack them together. You have something the NFL has never seen. Let's break down the cornerback first. Hunter is 6 feet 0 inches with a wingspan that lets him contest everything. At cornerback, he has elite length, quickness, and instincts with the ability to mirror receivers in man coverage and the awareness to thrive in zone. His ball skills are second to none, and his background as a receiver allows him to track passes like an offensive player. His long speed and burst allow him to recover even when he is initially beaten, and he has a natural feel for route recognition that makes him a nightmare for quarterbacks. Here's one of his most impressive plays on defense, coming against UCF Colorado, is in cover 2 zone with 2 deep safeties. So Hunter has the flat. UCF is running a post wheel concept off play action where the safety attaches to the post and Hunter has to carry the vertical deep. But watch how he's reading the quarterback the entire way. He sees the pressure coming, knows the QB will have to check down, and falls off his coverage to slide underneath for the interception. That's elite vision and football IQ. In press coverage, he's equally dominant. Here, he's pedaling back, pushes into the receiver, and because he's able to create this contact and slow down his opponent's momentum, he's able to get in phase, meaning he feels he's won the rep enough that he can turn his eyes to look for the ball. The numbers back up the tape. Hunter surrendered the fewest first downs of any cornerback nationally with just 6. He allowed only 1 touchdown all season. Quarterbacks targeted him on less than 10% of coverage snaps. He still has room to grow in terms of technique, as he occasionally relies too much on his athleticism to bail him out of bad situations. At times, he'll have bad eye discipline, where instead of staring at the hips of the receiver, his eyes are too high, letting receivers' shoulders move him out of position. But his upside as a shutdown corner is undeniable. Now, let's flip to offense. Hunter's plus traits as a receiver are his explosiveness, his catch and traffic ability, his spectacular catch, his ball tracking, and his vision. If you turn on his highlight reel, you'll see some of the most unbelievable catches of your life. His ability to high point the ball in traffic is incredible and truly God-given. He's not the tallest at 6 feet 0 inches. That's in the 48th percentile for receivers. His 188-pound frame is just in the 15th percentile, but he's able to go up and get the ball no matter what against anybody. In terms of explosiveness, think of a skinnier Malik Neighbors. He's got dynamite in each foot, which allows him to actually slow down his game speed, which in turn slows down the defender. Then he can accelerate. Here, Colorado's running this 9-8-9 concept, where the 9s refer to the go routes outside. And 8 means it's a post but can convert to a dig based on coverage. If Baylor rolls to a 1 high safety, Hunter would convert his post to a dig, but they stay in 2 high, so the goes outside stretch the safeties and Hunter converts to a post. Watch his tracking skills as he looks down to check his surroundings and where he's running. Then, how he can re-find the ball midair and make a catch in traffic. Incredible spatial awareness. His understanding of defensive backs, better than most receivers, because he plays the position himself, gives him an advantage in setting up routes and manipulating coverage. His body control and ability to high point the football make him a dangerous red zone threat, and his after the catch ability allows him to turn short gains into big plays. He may not be the most refined route runner yet, but he is a natural playmaker with an incredibly high ceiling. Even as a pure receiver, beyond the skills, the numbers don't just tell you what Hunter did, they tell you what he endured. Hunter played 1,356 snaps in 2024, most in the FBS by far. He averaged 5.2 miles per game. He maintained a 12 mile per hour average speed. He played 84% of Colorado's total snaps on both sides. He had 400 more snaps than the second most used player in college football. Sports scientists say what Hunter did physically isn't just rare, it's nearly impossible. The human body isn't designed to perform at that level on both sides of the ball for 3 hours, week after week. Which raises the question that has NFL teams most concerned. Can his body withstand this kind of punishment at the professional level? Can he maintain this Iron Man performance against bigger, faster, stronger competition? Or is Travis Hunter destined to choose one position in the NFL? As the draft approaches, a debate rages across NFL war rooms, not about whether Travis Hunter is talented, but about what exactly he is. Some scouts think he should play DB full-time with packages at wide receiver. Others believe he is a better wide receiver now than he is a cornerback. Coaches see him as a lockdown NFL corner pretty damn quickly, which is a wild thing to say about a player who hasn't stepped foot in the NFL. GMs are split, with some saying if they're drafting him as a receiver. When asked about it, Hunter simply states that a couple teams took him in as receiver and a couple teams took him in as DB, so he thinks it's still up in the air. The biggest question isn't just which position, it's whether a team will actually let him play both ways, something that hasn't been seen in the NFL in over 60 years. Football analysts point out that even on a single play, you need multiple reps and walkthroughs to figure out how to run it. If it's just one high coverage, does a receiver cut straight underneath on the dig or still run towards the post? Since it's too high and there's a linebacker and trail technique, should they run deep to the hole over the middle or cut quicker inside? Receivers need multiple reps for each route in the game plan. They need to know each position. If their X bumped into the slot, what are the audibles, the motions? If they're playing straight cover 2 zone or cover 2 match or Tampa 2, each route is run slightly differently. Then there's the physical toll. Hunter played 1,356 snaps last year. Most draft prospects play about 84% of their unit's total snaps. Hunter played 84% of the entire team's total snaps. In the NFL, if he were playing wide receiver and corner full time, he'd easily surpass 2,000 snaps in a season. That multiplies the number of collisions, potential injuries, and general wear and tear that his body would have to withstand. The NFL isn't college football. You're playing 12 games in college with a couple built-in bye weeks. The NFL is a 17-game schedule with one bye, facing bigger, faster, stronger competition. There's also the financial reality. This isn't just an academic debate. It has real implications for his future earnings. Last year, Justin Jefferson signed a 4-year deal to stay in Minnesota worth $140 million. By contrast, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Pat Surtain II, inked a deal in Denver for 4 years, $96 million. That's a massive gap and tells you exactly how much more the league values a top flight wide receiver versus the best shutdown corner in the game. If Hunter is just one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, he'll likely make more than he would as a corner, even an elite corner. But then came the bombshell that changed everything. When asked what happens if the team that drafts him only wants him to play one side, Hunter declared, "It's never playing football again because I've been doing it my whole life, and I love being on the football field. I feel like I could dominate on each side of the ball, so I really enjoy doing it." This wasn't just a quote. It was a line in the sand. To NFL front offices, that wasn't just a statement, it was a threat. Teams drafting in the top 5 now had to ask themselves, are we risking a top pick on a guy who might sit out if we don't let him do what he wants? Is he controlling the locker room before he even walks in? Can we manage his expectations without ruining the pick? Some execs took that comment as a negotiating move. Others flagged it as a red flag. But one thing was clear, Hunter knows his leverage. In another interview, Hunter elaborated, saying hopefully they let him go out there and do the same thing he did at Colorado. Go out and get on the field and dominate. His thing is, he wants to play both sides of the ball. But if that's not what they see, and that's not their vision, and they want him to earn the other position, he's ready to do that. A lot of people told him he wasn't going to do it at the college level, and he ended up doing it. So he knows it's going to be a lot of people telling him he can't do it in the NFL, and then when he ends up doing it, they're going to say, Hunter's confidence isn't just talk. He's putting in the work. He's preparing, as if playing both ways is a foregone conclusion. The question is, will the NFL let him? For NFL teams considering Travis Hunter, there are essentially 3 paths forward, each with its own risks and rewards. Let's explore the best case scenario first. What if a team fully embraces Hunter's two-way potential? If any team is bold enough to embrace Hunter's full potential, they could be getting one of the most unique players in NFL history. The optimal deployment would likely start with Hunter as a cornerback, full-time, where his technique is more refined. Then gradually introduce offensive packages, maybe 10 to 15 snaps per game focused on high leverage situations like the red zone and third downs. Over time, this could evolve into a roughly 80-20 split between defense and offense, allowing Hunter to make an impact on both sides of the ball while still managing his workload. In a best case outcome, you might see Hunter record 3 to 4 interceptions, 12 to 15 pass breakups, and 60-plus tackles on defense, while adding 30 to 40 catches, 400 to 500 yards, and 5 to 6 touchdowns on offense. This approach also offers roster construction benefits. A defensive back who can legitimately contribute on offense saves a roster spot that might otherwise go to a fringe 4th or 5th receiver. As one GM put it, if you're drafting in the top 5 and you get a guy who fills 2 roster spots, that's value. If Hunter succeeds in this role, he doesn't just win, he changes the rules. He opens the door for every 5-star athlete who's ever refused to choose. He becomes not just a unicorn, but a blueprint. Now, let's consider the more realistic middle path. Most NFL insiders believe Hunter will need to prioritize one position while contributing situationally at the other. This would likely mean Hunter plays cornerback on nearly 90% of defensive snaps, then adds 10 to 15 offensive snaps per game in specific packages. These wouldn't be random plays. They'd be carefully designed, high-leverage situations where his unique skill set creates mismatches. Think motion bubble screens, go routes from stacked alignments, red zone fades against smaller DBs, high-impact, low-complexity plays that don't require Hunter to master the entire offensive playbook. Some analysts think Hunter is extremely explosive with the ball in his hands, and the combination of that, plus his ability to high point in traffic outshines what he can do on the other side of the ball, but as a cornerback, they saw reluctance to stick his nose in the run game. Let's examine the teams most likely to select Hunter and how they might use him. First, the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee is a franchise that has been completely gutted by mismanagement and poor front office work. Right now, they need a can't-miss prospect to help rebuild around. The Titans scouts believe he probably starts at corner, and then they find ways to interject him into the offense as he gets more comfortable. He plays more and more offensively, but they think corner is probably his starting point. Next, the Cleveland Browns. Their general manager, Andrew Berry, had nothing but praise for Hunter, drawing a compelling comparison. Berry described it as being a little bit like Ohtani, where when he's playing one side, he's an outstanding player. If he's a pitcher, he's a hitter, he's an outstanding player. You obviously get a unicorn if you use them both ways. The Browns' scouts say they would see him as a receiver, primarily first, but part of what makes him a bit of a unicorn is the fact that he can do both at a high level. The Patriots, who have never been afraid to experiment, have reportedly considered allowing him to play both ways. Their executives note that he's really unique and instinctive at both positions, so they think there's a scenario where he's probably going to major in one and minor in the other, but they think there's a scenario where he could play both ways. The New York Giants seem like the perfect landing spot for Travis Hunter. First, the New York City market is the largest in America, and if the first ever modern two-way player plays near New York City, it could do incredible things for the league. This fits perfectly with the Giants because they have a huge need at cornerback and they already have a WR1 in Malik Neighbors. This would allow Hunter to play full-time at corner, and offensively, he would get easier matchups since Neighbors will have most of the attention on him. Giants GM Joe Schoen has said, if you're drafting in the top 5 and you get a guy who fills 2 roster spots, that's value. Not every team is sold on the two-way experiment. Sources say the Arizona Cardinals have removed Hunter from consideration entirely, believing the two-way approach isn't sustainable. The Pittsburgh Steelers reportedly believe he needs to pick one position to maximize his potential. So where will Travis Hunter land on draft day? Most draft experts expect Hunter to be a top 5 pick. If a team prioritizes defense, he will be the first corner off the board. If a team wants a playmaker on offense, he could be a first-round receiver. And if a team is willing to think outside the box, he could be something the league has never seen before. The best guess for how things shake out, Travis Hunter is drafted primarily as a corner who has a package on offense as a wide receiver. He plays full-time on defense and gets maybe a fourth of the snaps on offense. That's still insane. Whatever team selects him, they're getting more than just a player. They're getting an experiment, a test case for how positional versatility can work in the modern NFL. Hunter isn't just going to be a rookie. He's going to be a case study. And the entire league will be watching to understand just how unique Travis Hunter is. We need to look back at the rare two-way players from football's past. Deion Sanders played both ways in the NFL and even played baseball too, but nowhere near to the extent that Hunter is capable of. Charles Woodson and Champ Bailey occasionally contributed on offense, but never as true two-way players. The last full-time two-way player in the modern NFL was Chuck Bednarik, known as Concrete Charlie. We're talking about guys like Chuck Bednarik, who was so used to doing 2 things at once that he smoked a cigarette and a cigar at the same time. God, they just don't make them like Concrete Charlie anymore. As the NFL evolved, it trended toward hyper-specialization. Players focused on narrower roles, defensive tackles who only play on early downs, pass rush specialists who only enter on 3rd down, running backs who only play in passing situations. Hunter is pushing back against 6 decades of NFL evolution towards specialization. The Hunter-Ohtani comparison has become impossible to avoid. At the NFL Combine, Hunter was asked directly about it. When a reporter asked if what he does is harder than what Shohei Ohtani does as a pitcher and batter, Hunter replied, probably me. What I do in football because it's a lot on your body. You know, Ohtani, he's a great player, but you got to do a lot in football. Chad Johnson had a different take, saying, the two most difficult things in life are hitting a baseball and keeping a woman happy long term. Whether you believe Hunter's role is more difficult than Ohtani's or not, both are attempting to break established boundaries in their sports. Both are defying conventional wisdom about specialization. Both are unicorns. If Hunter succeeds, the ripple effects could be enormous. High school players might resist choosing positions again. College coaches might be more open to two-way stars. NFL teams might rethink how to save cap space by doubling player utility. NFL coaches admit this has the potential to change how we think about roster construction, how we evaluate versatile athletes. It's not just about Travis Hunter. It's about what he represents. Whatever route this takes, Travis Hunter is not just a football player. He is an experiment, a test case for how much positional versatility an NFL team can handle. He is the kind of player that will either change the way the game is played or be forced into a traditional role by coaches who cannot figure out how to maximize his abilities. He is a risk because there is no blueprint for what he is trying to do, but he is also an opportunity, a chance to redefine what is possible on a football field. As Hunter says himself, I'm just different like that, bro. Stop putting unicorn, bro. No, unicorns have different breeds. One way or another, he is going to be one of the most fascinating players in the NFL for years to come. So let's return to our original question. What is Travis Hunter exactly? He's not Jamar Chase. He's not Patrick Surtain. He's not Shohei Ohtani. He's not Deion Sanders. He's not Charles Woodson, because he's all of them and none of them. Maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe what matters isn't what Travis Hunter is, but what he represents. The possibility that football's rigid categorizations, offense and defense, cornerback and receiver, aren't as fixed as we thought. Whether he becomes a shutdown corner, a dynamic receiver, or football's first modern two-way star, one thing is certain. You're looking at a generational talent with numbers that tell the story. 92 catches, 1,152 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, a Heisman Trophy, and most importantly, 1,356 snaps of proof that impossible is just a word, not a limit. No one knows what Travis Hunter actually is, not yet. But soon enough, the NFL will find out. And when they do, it might never be the same again